Okay. Shenanigans, Shady Town, Mama's Couch. It's been a long time since we've spent time talking about Mama's Couch. Let's talk about the last portal season and how things ended up. Okay. Now, so far this year, women's basketball, 1,502 women entered the portal. 41% of them remain unclaimed, still sitting in the portal, potentially ending up on Mama's Couch. That's just this year, 2025. Men's basketball, almost 2,000 men entered the portal. 65% remain available. 65% remain available so far this year in 2025 through basketball portal season. Football portal season, 2024, 2025. 4,223 entered and 40% are still available. Now, remember, available is not picked up any place, period. Going home, sitting on Mama's couch because they've relinquished the scholarship where they were. They did not withdraw themselves from the transfer portal and return to the school they were at and have not gotten picked up by another team, sitting on Mama's couch. Okay. Now, the NCAA finally published their D1 trends for August 23 through July 24. Okay. Previously, we've been looking through trends for the prior school year. So they published these trends. Well, these trends are as of January 7th, 2025, but they reflect August 23 to July 24. Okay. So this is lagging data. Okay. So across all sports in the NCAA, D1 only. Okay. There were 12,448 athletes that entered the portal in 2022, 13,853 in 2023, and 15,075 athletes entered the portal in 2024. Roughly 30% of those were graduate students. The rest of them were undergrads. Okay, so that's a lot of people. And you see there's a trend, more and more each year. Now, in football, Power 4, okay, 72% transferred. So they effectuated a transfer to another school. Okay, 5% withdrew. So they went back to school they were in. Okay, and 23% ended up on Mama's couch. Now, I consider a successful transfer as one where you end up no less worse off than you were at the school that you transferred from. No less worse off. Okay? Now, of those 72% of Power 4 football athletes that successfully transferred to other D1 schools, okay, I'm not distinguishing between Power 4 and Group of 5, but just any D1 school or even D1s that are neither of those two. Okay. Of that 72%, only 79% of those ended up with a scholarship. Okay. So let me take you through the math. If 100 football athletes hit the portal, 72% of them, or 72 of them, get picked up. So you get 23 that didn't get picked up at all. Okay. 72, my math is not right on there. Fix the math. Okay. But 72 get picked up. But only 57 of the 100 end up with a scholarship at a D1 school. Okay. So you got 100 guys, because this is football, that hit the portal. 57 of them ended up at a D1 school with a scholarship. We'll call that a par move, for lack of a better way to describe it. Okay, because I don't know any other deal terms that might have happened. So that's football, Power 4. Okay, Group of 5 is not as successful as Power Four. So, a group of 5 football players, 53% of the people, the guys that entered the portal successfully effectuated a transfer. 7% withdrew, so they went back to where they were. 40% mama's couch. Home. No scholarship, no transfer. Not in the NCAA. Okay? So, of that 53%, only half of those got a scholarship. So let me do the math for you again. So if 100 group of 5 athletes hit the portal, 53 get picked up, but only 27 of the 100 got picked up with a scholarship at a D1 school. Okay. Now, they might have had success going down market to D2, okay, and getting a scholarship, but just staying at the D1 level, odds are not in their favor. So what are some of the takeaways? There's still a lot of athletes sitting on mama's couch. And though we like to talk about overplayed hands and guys, money, 40% women's basketball not picked up, mama's couch, across all divisions, all conferences. 65% currently in men's basketball, 40% in football, mama's couch. Okay. Trend data shows that Power 4 transfers historically have better success than Group of 5 transfers. I just gave you some quick math there. What happened to the 100 guys? Okay. Now, there's all this conversation about, and all the reasons you have Diego Pavia and Joey Aguilar and all these folks moving from JUCO and progressing their way up. Okay. Move up stories like Joey Aguilar are the exception and not the rule. Now, let's quickly refresh ourselves on Joey. 2 years at a JUCO, 1 year at App State, half a year at UCLA. Okay. Currently at Tennessee when the whole Nico thing went down. Okay. They just traded places. Okay. But that doesn't happen generally because I just showed you the trend data. So a lot of these folks are not being successful effectuating a transfer that is putting them in a better position. So for every Nico, every Malaysia Fulwiley who transferred from University of South Carolina to LSU, for every Carson Beck, there are hundreds of athletes who get nothing of value for the transfer exercise. Nothing of value. And I know everybody thinks they're a superstar and everybody's going to the league. Everybody. And so I'm going to hit the portal where somebody will respect my talents. Or I'm going to hit the portal because I don't feel like competing for that slot. So I'm going to go to a school where I can get a slot. Okay. Folks, athletes need to be realistic about what their next steps may look like. A lot of them are projecting poorly. So the grass is not always greener on the other side. And mama's couch is a real thing. So please, okay, as you are advising athletes, or to the extent you have conversations with athletes, ask them to just take a look at some of the data and take a look at their own situation before they immediately assume that they will be better off if they hit the portal. The grass is not always greener on the other side, and quite a few times it definitely is not. Okay, so peace and love to all. As always, let me know what you think. Have a good one.